election was announced, Pakistan ratified that. Pakistan also ratified the Sustainable Development Goals, of which a critical goal relating to the press freedom is 16.10.1. According to this SDG goal, Pakistan is supposed to provide to the United Nations on an yearly basis the data of what has happened to the journalists during the last 12 months. This is the SDG goals. And not only that, Pakistan was the first country which volunteered, which agreed to the VNR, Voluntary National Report. Means Pakistan agreed on its own that we will provide to the United Nations every year what has happened to journalists, how many have been killed, how many kidnapped, how many tortured, and how many kept under unlawful detention. This was supposed to be an obligation of the state after having signed the Human Action Plan, the SDG, as well as the VNR. So this is the obligation of the state of Pakistan. And I should also like to point out that of the various crimes that are committed against journalists, these are very common: killing, kidnapping, torture. But there is one crime which is particularly directed against women journalists. And Madam Excellency, you pointed out about the women journalists, and that is the trolling of women journalists. Only a woman journalist can tell you how much it has pained them. So these are the different kinds of the crimes being committed against the journalists. Now, what is the lay of the land like in Pakistan? Of course, we have made some progress. Pakistan enacted a law last year in August or July on this subject, freedom of the security of journalists and protection of journalists. Not only that, the Sindh government also passed a law. Now 3 provinces are remaining: Punjab, Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. There is no such law. We have in Sindh and we have at the central level. This sounds good, but this also raises some questions. The law has not been operationalized. Neither the federal-based law nor the law legislated in the province of Sindh. Had the law been operationalized, the lady journalist Sadaf probably would have been taken care of, because the law in Islamabad obligated the media owners to insure their workers. Right now, the media owners have insured their equipment, their cameras, equipment, but they have not insured, they have not provided insurance cover to the man and woman behind the camera. And this is provided for in the law. But since the law has not been operationalized, that is the reason that Sadaf got killed, but there was no insurance for her. And the law has not been operationalized, and that is the reason that there is no commission to be set up. There the law also provides for the setting up of a commission. That commission also has not been set up. And the same, I think, is the situation in Sindh. So the first thing that needs to be done, and a voice needs to be raised on this platform, is to operationalize the laws already made, and also to persuade other 3 provinces which have not enacted legislation that they should also enact laws. In my view, this is the first and fundamental step to be taken. Now, for the safety and security of journalists, a number of other things need to be done. Except for 2 or 3 NGOs, there has been no review at the level of the officials to catalog, to produce a data-based document. Okay, what has happened during the last 10 years? How many journalists killed, kidnapped, and so on. And the data has to be credible, because the data which is to be provided to the UN must be provided by the government. What these NGOs have done, and I remember Aftab Alam is here, Irada, the other organization, the Peace and Justice Network and Freedom Network, they all have done work on that. And they have prepared also a template, okay, how the crimes against journalists are to be recorded. But whatever investigations they do, it will carry no weight with the United Nations, because it has to go through the government. The government must own it. Therefore, I would urge them that the first port of call for them should be now the Parliament. They should go to the Parliament, present it to the Parliament relevant committee, that this is the template we have prepared, this is our research finding, and then the government asks the police and the FIA to prepare a database. So that is my second recommendation, which is very important. I should also like to say a few words about some other things about which I feel disturbed. And it is very disturbing. I should also recommend that, the Pembra organization should direct all the media houses to make safety guidelines. The journalists also should make their own safety guidelines. And Pakistan in 1998 had endorsed UN General Assembly resolution on the defending the human rights defenders, and journalists are the front line defenders of human rights defenders. But in 2015, unfortunately, Pakistan voted against it. So my next recommendation is that the government of Pakistan should re-endorse that UN General Assembly resolution for defending the human rights defenders. But what is most serious and what is most disturbing, that is that 10 days ago, I have learned this on authority. The cabinet approved this summary, and that summary authorizes FIA to take cognizance of the offences, within quote, spreading rumors and false information about state institutions. Now this is very slippery, very dangerous. Authorizing the FIA to take cognizance of the offence which has not been specifically defined within the parameters of the law, and only states spreading rumor and false information about state institutions. If the FIA really gets this power, it will be a disaster for the freedom of press and for the freedom of expression also. I hope that this information which I have got, I hope that it is overturned. I got also a copy of the minutes that were recorded that the cabinet has decided this. But I hope that the government will realize and will not go ahead with empowering FIA with these draconian powers, which will have a disastrous impact not only on the freedom of the media but also on the freedom of expression, and thereby endanger and threaten democracy in Pakistan. It is also, in my view, contempt of the Islamabad High Court. I am a petitioner in the Islamabad High Court against the PICA law, And Islamabad High Court sent that case back to the government, saying that the Tika rules should be revisited and that the parliament should be involved. I expected, I hoped that that will be done. But with this kind of cabinet decision, that hope also seems to elude us. And also, I should also like to say that the Safety and Security of Journalists law, which was passed last year, it has a section called Section 6. And in Section 6 there is subsection 3, and I think that that also needs to be revisited, because it enjoins upon, it makes it obligatory upon a journalist to prove that whatever he has written and said was in good faith. Aftab Alam Saab is here and he has done a lot of work on this. So ladies and gentlemen, these were some of the thoughts that I wanted to share with you on this day. And on this day we should also demand that fair, free, independent and credible investigations must be held in the tragic assassination of Arshad Sharif. Whether it was a murder in the line of duty or whether it was an assassination as a result of some criminal activity. Journalist. I also happen to be a journalist. I was an editor of a newspaper. And I know the anguish, I know the trauma, and that is why I took a bit longer than what I should have. Thank you very much.